This is quite complicated. So we are ready for the next adventure. This is the Monte Albán archaeological area. We had to park way down there because there was no parking space. So we have to walk uphill for a long time, and this is a pretty steep hill. So we'll make it, right? I think it'll be worth it, but we'll make it. Look at that. There's a lot of enthusiasm going on here. We'll make it. It's a beautiful view. We have a beautiful view here. Everything is going well. Well, I have to say, this is quite complicated. There's a lot of people. Cars cannot go up any more than a certain area. You have to park, and it's just complicated. Lots of people. The first Zapotec capital is one of the most amazing pre-Hispanic cities in all of Mesoamerica. Apart from its monumental dimensions, it was strategically located on different hills, in the heart of the central valleys of the impressive and wonderful state of Oaxaca. Verde Antequera also stands out, right at the foot of these hills. Right here, three great rivers converge that have been in charge of giving life to those lands for centuries. This region, which includes the Etla valleys to the north, Grande or Zimatlán to the south, and Tlacolula, constitutes the extensive originally Zapotec territories. The residence of Tomb 104 is one of the most elegant residences in Monte Albán. The house and burial ground were built around AD 500 to 700. The refined treatment of the sepulchre and its decoration explain the importance of the entombed figure. A large number of clay objects such as pots, plates, jugs, incense burners, and urns were deposited next to the deceased as an offering. The interior walls present painted characters, possibly priests, richly dressed, wearing plumes, loincloths, and sandals. In their hands, they carry bags of copal. Glyphs and calendaric dates complete the representation. Monte Albán was founded in the 5th century BC by consensus of one of the groups that inhabited the lowland villages. To control social, political, and economic affairs, allowed the development of an urban project as perfect as it was ambitious, which led to the population to settle on the top of such hills. Hills that had to be conditioned to house huge terraces and wide platforms on which plazas, patios, and 15 pyramids would rise. Not to mention La Gran Plaza that measures almost 300 meters long by more than 100 meters wide. Around 1,300 terraces were built on the hills and their slopes. In this early phase of civilization, glyphs were used as writing elements. The reliefs of the so-called Gallery of the Dancers were made. This project gave its inhabitants preeminence over the towns of the valleys, and also provided them with the strategic protection and domain that they were surely looking for. Amazingly, later on, its new inhabitants, the Mixtecs, moved here and brought their dead along, which were reburied in the tombs of Monte Albán. That is, the new city was founded on top of their own dead, for which the city was given the rank of necropolis. Well, if it's about exploring, let's explore. The good book says that there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet, no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear Him. So this is it. There's no better time than this. Monte Albán's construction lasted about 1,300 years, which obviously makes us think about the amount of work that this involved, especially in its beginnings. Let's take into account that the natural topography of the hill had to be modified with terraces and walls, level spaces for platforms and plazas, with drains and tombs, hauling construction materials and water from the lowlands, including supplies and labor. It was a daunting task. It was believed that figures of festive character celebrating some ceremony had been captured here, but over time it was learned that they were really prisoners who had been tortured. These are the stones that were recovered from various buildings. There are more than 200 stones of this type that were recovered. And how did they come to this conclusion? The main feature is that they are all men, nude and in unorthodox positions. They are all dead, eyes closed and some with their tongues hanging out. From the conquest tombstones in the main observatory, we realize that the domain of the cosmos is directly related to the domain of other peoples. There, the superimposed structural marks have remained, faithful witnesses of the different stages of modification through which the city passed, always faithful to the interests and desires of rulers of different Zapotec dynasties. Until now, only a tiny percentage of the almost 7 square kilometers that comprise the city has been explored. During its highest point, which was between 500 and 750 AD, this same space came to house some 35,000 inhabitants, not including the population that remained in the valleys. The section that we can now visit is located in the Cerro del Tigre, or Monte Albán, although in the center, Cerro del Gallo, and in the north, Cerro del Bonete, or Atzompa, there are innumerable structures, such as the ball court, which still retains its flattened stucco. The city's archaeological finds extend over an area of just over 2,000 hectares, of which only 20% has been explored. In its period of greatest splendor, Monte Albán maintained strong commercial and political ties with distant metropolises, such as Teotihuacan. The dealing in precious and exotic merchandise expedited the coming and going of merchants, which is why diplomatic correspondence were organized based in both cities. A few years ago, a Zapotec neighborhood with tombs and offerings according to their customs was located in Teotihuacan. In the same way, in Monte Albán, remains were found that indicate the presence of Teotihuacan. Monte Albán was also designed for stargazing. The north-south orientation is due to the fact that Zapotecs constantly observed the stars. There are at least 3 astronomical observatories. The G building, one of the buildings in the center, another in the P building, and another in the J building, which is the oldest and also the most complex. Building J has all the conquests of Monte Albán embodied on its entire wall. It shows the towns that were being annexed due to the conquests. The Zapotecs put it in full view of all visitors or anyone who passed by. The main purpose was to pay taxes. Around the 8th century AD, the privileged situation of the noble aristocracy declined drastically. The dispersion of its power resulted in a weakening of its main force, supported by blood and religious ties. From then on, numerous cessions of power, commanded by new social, economic, and perhaps religious alliances, multiplied throughout the valleys. However, Monte Albán died in isolation when those offices stopped contributing to its maintenance. The original name of the city is not known for sure, because when the Europeans arrived, it was abandoned. However, the Zapotec word Danibán, which means sacred mountain, refers to this site. Similarly, the Mixtecs, who arrived in the valleys after the collapse of the metropolis, called it Saan de Vui, at the foot of heaven. The Mexicas knew it by the Nahuatl word Ocelotepec, which means hill of the jaguar or tiger. These 3 names indicate that there was a certain respect toward the place. However, the modern name of Monte Albán may refer more to the Spanish who came to own these lands, whose surname was Montalbán. The city was declared a World Heritage Site on December 11, 1987. The discovery of the treasure from Tomb 7 is without a doubt the most remarkable event in the modern history of Monte Albán. Thanks to the exploration of Alfonso Caso in 1932, it became an international issue. It is an offering made up of an impressive collection of objects made of various materials: rock, crystal, bone, amber, shell, precious metals such as gold and silver, also jade, turquoise, onyx, pearls, coral, and jet. The largest treasure that has ever been found in Mexico, in a pre-Hispanic tomb. Despite the fact that the tomb is Zapotec, from the late Classic, its decoration and metallurgy give it a Mixtec origin. It is believed that the Mixtecs desecrated the site to bury a member of the nobility. If so, the image of Monte Albán is reinforced as a sacred place to care for and honor the deceased. The cultural richness in combination with the beauty of this place cannot be measured. To be able to be here and experience this cultural Eden firsthand is one of the greatest honors that I've ever had in my life. Time and the elements have been complicit in the mysteries that are still buried here, and that we do not know for sure if they will ever be revealed. Because if all of this has been discovered in a couple of centuries, which is only a very small part, I wonder what else there is to discover. How many secrets and archaeological riches are kept in the deepness of Monte Albán? It would only take once for you to come to this place, for you to fall in love with it. The Zapotecs believed that their ancestors turned into clouds.